You know, I remember the good old days of Genshin where we were still in Inazuma and we were theory crafting when the chasm would release, just hyping it up like it was going to be the best region of all time. And then the chasm finally released along with the best 5-star character in the entire game who solos your favorite character both in power level and versatility. But after the chasm released, the community immediately set its sights on the next big time region that would release quite soon, which was Sumeru. I remember the good days where everyone was hyping up Sumeru like there was no tomorrow. Now we're already beyond Sumeru and in Fontaine already. However, I don't think many people are going to remember Sumeru too fondly for a few reasons. Reasons I'm going to be talking about in this video. Just a heads up, by the way, I don't actually dislike Sumeru. In fact, it was the first region I somehow got 100% in every area of the map. Still don't know how I did that naturally, but it's just a quick flex for the time being. I'm just going to speak about some of the gripes that the community has about the region that I personally think are pretty valid. When Sumeru first released, it was honestly pretty damn good. The environment immediately felt so much better and full of life compared to the previous regions. The jungle was lush and beautiful and the 4-leaf sigil transportation method was amazing. Truly one of the most helpful exploration additions in the game so far. Probably the most helpful. I don't believe anybody had an issue with the jungle region of Sumeru. There was nothing bad about it. Except for that one fucking quest where you have to spend like days or even a few hours just trying to rescue this girl from some sort of bubble prison, and then you have to talk to the Aranera in order to save her, and then after that you have to find fucking 76 Araneras scattered across the jungle region just to unlock like the next fucking mini region or get these precious chests from this room. That was the most, like that was definitely without a shadow of a doubt the worst part about the first region of Sumeru. I didn't even get to Sumeru City for like a week because I accidentally stumbled into the quest and started it like so many other unfortunate souls. That was honestly ass, and whoever implemented that quest into the game needs to be fired or something because that was just ridiculous. I can't even remember if they told you where all of the 76 Aranera were, because it's been so long ago. So how could you even find all of these Aranera without a YouTube guide? Like, I'm just saying. But let's get on to the bigger picture here. The jungle region wasn't bad. What was truly horrible was the desert region. You see, I, like so many other players, thought that maybe the first release of the desert was going to be the only piece of the desert. Because there's no way they'd make like 70% of Sumeru a desert. Right? Well, I'll tell you what, Buckaroo. That's exactly what the fuck they did. And make the entirety of the rest of Sumeru a desert is what they did. And my goodness. Even though I've somehow explored everything in the desert so far, I'm not surprised to see that some people haven't even started the bitch yet. The Sumeru desert was just something I don't think anybody expected. Sure, we knew Sumeru would have a desert, but we didn't expect nearly the entire region to be one. And the thing is, a desert is just a desert. There's not much you can add into one until it just isn't a desert anymore. There's just large spaces of the Sumeru desert where it's just empty sand dunes for miles. But the only reason why the Sumeru desert looks so empty is because the fucking abomination that is underground. The underground portions of Sumeru is something I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy. I don't know who designed all of these interconnected caves and pyramid mazes, but they also need to be fired along with the 76 Aranera guy, because holy fucking shit. I still got surprised I even got through it myself. I may be the type of person who likes to get lost in exploration, but not this lost. I remember I went into a singular pyramid one time and ended up somewhere completely different. And I didn't even know how I got there. All I know is that, well, I'm there all of a sudden. The underground portions of Sumeru is way too much and too complicated at times. This is why I'm not surprised that people have already fully explored Fontaine compared to Sumeru, where their shit is still at like 40%. Because it really does suck to go through all of those caves. It's a major headache. What's even worse about it is that when Fontaine released, they added a multi-layer feature in the game where you can view which layer of the map you're on. So let's say you're underwater in Fontaine and you open the map. You can view both the underwater map and the map on the surface by using the multi-layer feature. Now this is extremely helpful, don't get me wrong. But I'm pretty sure it would have been even more fucking helpful if they added this shit when they added the Sumeru desert region. It really would have been more helpful if I could see the layout of the infinite caves I'm in whilst exploring Sumeru. But nope, they added that shit only when Fontaine released, which is fine, it's cool, whatever. I'm not even mad about it, who cares? But now that the desert region frustration is out of the way, I think it's time to talk about something a little more controversial. I don't think it's too controversial to state that the lineup of Sumeru 5 stars and 4 stars were majorly disappointing. I think anybody with at least one chromosome could even understand that. The worst part is that it's not even the 4 stars who are ass, but it's also the 5 stars too. And I think you guys know exactly who I'm going to talk about. But let's start from the beginning here. The first 5-star to release in Sumeru wasn't bad at all. It was Tainari, and even though he's now on standard, he's actually a viable Dendro DPS, so he escapes with this one. However, the next 5-star to release didn't escape so easily. Sino is honestly a weird case. I like his character and personality, I guess, but his damage capabilities are not cutting it. Now of course I have to say this, if your Sino is cracked or your Sino is cracked, that's fine. Your Sino is probably C6 or has perfect artifacts, whatever. But if Sino was supposedly cracked, we'd hear about it. And the truth is, we aren't. We never did. Sino honestly is not that great and pretty underwhelming as a 5-star. Then we got Nilu, who honestly is pretty good for Hyperbloom reactions. I don't think I'll ever pull for her because I just don't feel the need to, but I've heard that the people who do have been pretty satisfied with her as she is essential in their Hyperbloom teams for the most part. Then Nahida released and saved the entire fucking Dendro element. Look bro, I shit you not, Nahida is the Dendro reaction mechanic herself. I mean, you can't expect anything less from an Archon, but she's just carrying Dendro tenfold. Easily the best Dendro applicator and character in the game. Wanderer is a good Animo DPS, and that's all he is. He's a major competitor for Zhao, probably even outclasses him at times. He was a success. And I can say the same about Alhaitham. Alhaitham is actually a great Dendro DPS, and in my opinion, more fun than Nahida. So I'll probably get him one day. Now, let's get into the more ugly side of the character roster. I'll save the best for last. So firstly, who the fuck cares about Candace? Or Kandake? Nobody cares about her, nobody uses her. Whatever. Who the fuck cares about Kaveh? Sure, he's funny, but hey, he's only good for deleting objects in the game. That's all he's worth, right? Kale is... whatever. Layla is good, I think. I think her shield is strong, I don't know. Faruzan is a tricky situation because she is completely different as C6, which sucks because I don't have her as C6, but she's still viable for increasing your animal DPS capabilities regardless. Dory, but finally, for the one character that I have saved for last, because she is by far the best Pyro 5-star release in the entire game so far, is Dehya. Guys, come on. Dehya is absolutely phenomenal. She does amazing damage at C6. Like, guys, I can't believe that Dehya can reach 10k with food buffs at C6. Man, that's crazy power, bro. Also, make sure you don't accidentally jump when using her burst, because then you lose the entire burst. But that's okay, because that's just your fault for having to play the game. Also, don't hit inanimate objects with Dehya's burst, or you'll also lose her burst. Oh, also, don't accidentally kill Dehya by using her skill. Guys, Dehya is absolutely great. You guys just don't understand her potential, yet you guys are just meta players, and you don't understand how good she is. Yeah, hey, you know something? You can fuck right off into the standard banner with you. I don't think I even have to speak anymore about this character. Such a great design, great personality, but just disappointing in the power capabilities. She is easily the most disappointing thing to have ever come out of Sumeru, in my personal opinion. And this is exactly why Fontaine is a breath of fresh air for many players, because when Lenny released, he was actually a good pyro DPS. Lenny is like what Dehya should have been, in all honesty. And Nervalette is an amazing Hydro DPS for any player to have. In conclusion, I don't necessarily hate the Sumeru region, but I also clearly see why some people do, or the people who have barely explored it. And not to mention, the characters that released alongside Sumeru just mostly aren't cutting it as much as the already 2 newly released Fontaine characters have been doing. I'd still say that Sumeru is a good region to explore, it's just that it can get a bit bloated and overcomplicated at times, and not really worth the headache in the grand scheme of things. Please unsubscribe, by the way.